Hi, welcome to my presentation on Charles Darwin and his significant contributions to psychology and in the mental health field. Charles Darwin is most widely known for his groundbreaking work in evolutionary biology, particularly his theory of natural selection. However, his influence extends far beyond biology into psychology and the understanding of human behavior. Darwin's work laid the foundation for what we now call evolutionary psychology, a field that seeks to explain psychological traits such as memory, perception, and emotions as adaptations shaped by natural selection. His theories provided new perspective on why humans behave the way they do, linking psychological processes to evolutionary survival. Darwin's idea on natural selection laid the groundwork for psychologists to study the evolution of human mind and behavior. He proposed that emotions and behaviors are part of an adaptive system for survival, bridging the gap between biological processes and the mental health. His work is relevant in understanding human emotions, anxiety, individual differences, and psychological disorders, influencing fields like clinical psychology, behavioral genetics, and neuropsychology. In this presentation, I will explore the historical context in which Darwin developed his theories, the cultural impact his ideas had both during his time and in modern-day psychology, and the ethical considerations that have emerged from the application of his work. By the end of this presentation, you will gain a deeper understanding of how Darwin's evolutionary theory revolutionized the study of human behavior and the mind, and how it continues to shape psychological research and practice today. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Darwin's incredible contributions to psychology. Let's dive deeper into the historical, cultural, and ethical implications of his work in the coming sections of this presentation. Charles Darwin was born on February 12, 1809 in Shrewsbury, England. His family was affluent and intellectual, providing him with a rich environment for scientific and philosophical discussion. His father and grandfather were influential figures in his early interest in the natural world. However, Darwin's childhood was marked by the loss of his mother at the age of 8, which likely influenced his sensitive and introspective nature. Darwin's education had a significant impact on his intellectual development. Although he initially struggled with classical education, his passion for natural sciences grew as he engaged in outdoor activities. While studying medicine at the University of Edinburgh, he became more interested in marine biology and geology. Later at Christ's College, Cambridge, he encountered with naturalists reignited his passion for scientific inquiry, particularly in geology and botany. This period laid the groundwork for his later work. The family dynamic significantly influenced Darwin's intellectual pursuits. His father, Robert Darwin, encouraged practical careers in medicine and in the church, providing him with foundation in empirical thinking. His grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was an early proponent of evolutionary ideas. The loss of his mother at a very young age may have contributed to his introspective and observational nature. These experiences played a crucial role in shaping his groundbreaking ideas on evolution. Charles Darwin's most significant contribution to science is undoubtedly his theory of evolution by natural selection. This theory, developed in the mid-19th century, fundamentally altered the way we understand life on Earth, including human behavior. Darwin's theory is based on natural selection, survival of the fittest, and adaptation. Natural selection is the process where better adapted organisms survive and reproduce, leading to the spread of favorable traits. Adaptation involves changes in organisms to better suit their environment. Variation among Individuals provides the raw material for natural selection to act upon. Darwin's theory of evolution applied to behavior and mental processes, suggesting that emotions, like physical traits, could have evolved to serve the adaptive functions. For example, fear might have evolved to help individuals avoid danger, while social behaviors could have developed to strengthen group survival. These laid the foundations for evolutionary psychology, a field that examines how our psychological traits may have been shaped by natural selection. Darwin's theory of natural selection was influenced by his observations during the HMS Beagle voyage and the Thomas Malthus work on population dynamics. His observation of well-adapted species and Malthus' ideas on competition for resources shaped this theory. In 1859, Darwin published On the Origin of Species, a book that would forever change our understanding of life. In it, Darwin laid out theory of evolution by natural selection supported by a wealth of observational evidence. The book caused a major shift in the scientific community as it provided a natural explanation for the diversity of life on Earth. Though initially met with resistance, especially from religious groups, Darwin's ideas gained acceptance over time and eventually became the cornerstone of modern psychology. Darwin's theory has had a profound influence on how we understand mental health and human behavior. Evolutionary psychology draws from Darwin's idea, suggesting that many aspects of human psychology are adaptations shaped by natural selection to solve problems faced by our ancestors. For instance, anxiety may have evolved to keep humans alert to potential threats, enhancing survival. Traits that we were once adaptive, such as heightened vigilance in dangerous environments, may become maladaptive in modern settings, leading to conditions like generalized anxiety disorder. Evolutionary psychology provides a framework for exploring why certain mental health issues arise and how they may have once served useful purposes on the human evolution. Darwin's ideas have greatly influenced modern psychological practices. His emphasis on the continuity between human and animal behavior led to the groundwork of comparative psychology. These fields study similarities between human and animal behavior to better understand the origins of human traits. Darwin's work also helped psychologists consider the biological roots of behavior, which is now fundamental aspects of fields such as behavioral neuroscience and evolutionary psychiatry. Modern mental health practices often consider evolutionary explanation for behaviors that seem irrational or harmful today, but may have once been advantageous. For example, depression is sometimes viewed as a response to loss or failure that forces the individual to pause and reassess their situation, a trait that may have helped our ancestors back then to conserve energy and focus on problem solving during difficult times. In conclusion, Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection has revolutionized not only biology but also the way we understand human behavior and mental health. His ideas about adaptation, survival, and natural selection continue to shape modern psychological theories and provide critical framework for exploring mental health issues. In this section, we will discuss the impact of Darwin's theory on mental health based on the historical versus the current impact. When Darwin's On the Origins of Species was first published in 1859, it sparked widespread debate across various fields, including biology, psychology, and mental health. Many mental health professionals began exploring the biological foundations of mental health disorders. And Darwin's theory suggested that human behavior and emotions could be seen as evolutionary adaptations rather than solely influenced by culture and divine intervention. His ideas about natural selections and adaptation were embraced by forward-thinking psychologists as offering a scientific basis for understanding the origins of human behavior and mental processes. In the years after Darwin's theory was published, mental health professionals explored how natural selection could explain the development of certain mental traits. Emotions like fear and aggressions were seen as adaptive responses to environmental threats, aiding survival. Mental disorders like anxiety and depression were also viewed through an evolutionary lens. Darwin's contemporary Sir Francis Galton was particularly interested in the heritability of intelligence and other mental traits, while some early applications ventured into controversial ideas such as eugenics. Darwin's theory laid the groundwork for understanding human behavior in evolutionary terms. Darwin's idea are still relevant today, especially in evolutionary psychology. This field explains mental traits as the results of evolutionary pressures faced by our ancestors. For example, anxiety disorders are now viewed through an evolutionary lens as adaptations that may have helped our ancestors avoid dangers but can become maladaptive in modern environments. So Darwin's influence extends into contemporary mental health research and therapy. His theories prompted psychologists and neuroscientists to investigate the biological basis of mental disorders by considering how traits evolve over millions of years. Mental health professionals can develop more effective therapeutic approaches that take into account the evolutionary origins of the behavior. For example, cognitive behavioral therapy, a widely used therapeutic approach today, incorporates some principles that align with Darwin's evolutionary framework. CBT encourages individuals to challenge irrational thoughts patterns that may have been adaptive in the past but are no longer useful in the modern life. It aims to help people reframe their thinking in a way that aligns better with the current, less threatening environment. Additionally, Darwin's work has fueled research into the genetic and hereditary factors that contribute to mental health disorders. By exploring how certain psychological traits are passed down through generations, scientists are developing more personalized approaches to mental health treatment and take into account both evolutionary and genetic factors. In summary, Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection has significantly influenced the field of mental health. Historically, it offered a fresh perspective on human behavior and mental disorders, and today it continues to shape evolutionary psychology, contemporary therapeutic approaches, and research into biological foundations of mental health conditions. We will explore the cultural and ethical considerations surrounding Darwin's theory and its application in mental health. When Darwin introduced the theory of evolution by natural selection in the 19th century, it sparked intrigue, skepticism, and controversy in the scientific community. Many embraced that the empirical evidence, while others resisted due to radical implications of his idea. Darwin's theory challenged the prevailing belief in the immutability of species and raised questions about the origins of humanity, causing discomfort among scientists adhering to more traditional view of life's creation. So Darwin's theory profoundly impacted society, especially regarding religion and human identity. Darwin's work directly challenged the religious belief of human exceptionalism, which held humans were created in the image of God and were distinct um, from all other life forms. This shift in perspective led to a societal crisis of identity as people grappled with the implications of being products of natural processes rather than divine design. The debate over creationism versus evolution continues today, reflecting Darwin's ideas' lasting impact on human identity and the broader cultural worldview. Okay. One major criticism of Darwin's work is the misapplication through social Darwinism, which applied survival of the fittest to human societies. Justifying equality and oppression, this harmful misinterpretation distorted scientific principles to support political and social agendas. Okay, the other one would be Darwin's theory sparked debates about the implications for human nature and behavior. Critics argue that it reduces human behavior to biological determinism, implying that traits like aggression, competition, or selfishness are hardwired and unavoidable. The controversies also extends to gender roles and sexual selection, reinforcing traditional gender norms. Despite criticism, and many contemporary scholars argued that evolutionary theory provides valuable insights into human behavior while acknowledging the complexities of human psychology. So Darwin's work exists within the complex cultural context and has been subject to systematic biasness. Section, we will explore the ethical consideration associated with Darwin's theory, both historically and in the current professional practice. The misuse of Darwin's theory in promoting eugenics is a stark reminder of the ethical dangers of applying biological theories to social policy without proper moral oversight. This historical misuse highlights the need for a critical, careful approach to applying scientific theories in areas where human rights are and dignity are concerned. Darwin's theory of natural selection raised ethical concerns about these societal implications. It challenged long-held beliefs and led to fears that it could justify social inequalities and oppressive hierarchies. The concept of survival of the fittest was misinterpreted as promoting cutthroat competition and social Darwinism, ignoring cooperative and altruistic behaviors important for species to survive. These controversies highlight the ethical risk of applying biological theories to human social systems without considering moral and societal consequences. In today's professional practice, ethical debates continue about the application of Darwin's evolutionary theory, particularly in psychology, of course. Evolutionary psychology aims to explain human behaviors, emotions, and mental disorders through natural selection. While this approach provides valuable insight, it also raises ethical concerns such as potentially reducing complex human behaviors to solely biological and genetical factors and reinforcing harmful stereotypes. It's important to maintain a balanced view considering the role of evolution in shaping human behavior while also addressing the ethical implications of such explanation in therapeutic and societal contexts. Ethical considerations are crucial when applying evolutionary theory in research and practice. Mental health professionals must ensure that they do not use evolutionary explanations to excuse harmful behaviors or reinforce societal inequalities. Ethical guidelines should be followed in research involving evolutionary perspectives, particularly in the areas related to genetics, mental health, and behavior. For instance, when investigating genetic predispositions to mental health, researchers must avoid deterministic language that could stigmatize individuals or imply that they are incapable of change. Ethical research also requires informed consent, respect for privacy, and consideration of potential impacts on the individuals and communities. In therapeutic settings, mental health practitioners must be mindful of how they integrate evolutionary theory into treatment processes, striving to empower clients and providing them with the tools to make informed decisions about their behaviors. In summary, while Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection has provided profound insight into human behavior and psychology, it has also raised significant ethical issues both historically and in contemporary practice. Historically, The misuse of Darwinian ideas in eugenics and social Darwinism resulted in unethical practices that violated human dignity. Today, the ongoing application of this evolutionary theory in psychology must be handled with care, ensuring that it does not reinforce harmful stereotypes or reduce human behavior to mere biological determinism. By maintaining ethical standards in both research and practice, professionals can responsibly use the evolutionary theory to advance our understanding of mental health while respecting the complexity and agency of individuals. This concludes the section on ethical issues associated with Darwinian's theory. In this last segment, I will share my application to Charles Darwin's theory on the counseling practice in Singapore. As a counseling professional in Singapore, the principles of natural selection and adaptation provide a valuable framework for understanding client behavior. Darwin's idea that behaviors like physical traits evolve to help individuals adapt to their environments is crucial in comprehending how clients respond to challenges today. For instance, behaviors such as anxiety, fear, and social withdrawal, while often viewed as negative, can be understood as adaptive responses that evolve to protect individuals from perceived dangers in the environment. In a modern context, these behaviors may no longer be necessary for physical survival, but still manifest as coping mechanisms in responses to stresses. For example, a client dealing with chronic anxiety may exhibit heightened vigilance as an evolutionary legacy of the need to remain alert to potential threats. By understanding the adaptive roots of these behaviors, I can help clients reframe their responses as historically useful but currently maladaptive, which can lead to more compassionate self-understanding and effective coping strategies. Evolutionary psychology also offers practical insights into developing therapeutic strategies for me. In counseling, I can integrate this approach by helping clients explore how certain behaviors such as aggression, competitiveness, or avoidance may have evolved to serve as protective factors or survival functions. For instance, conflict avoidance might have evolved to maintain a social harmony in small, tight-knit communities such as ours. But in the present day, it could prevent a client from addressing important personal issues. Using this perspective, I can encourage clients to explore which behaviors are still serving them and which are not. This understanding helps tailor therapeutic strategies such as cognitive behavioral therapy, where clients learn to challenge automatic thoughts and behaviors that no longer serve them in today's world. In Singapore multicultural context, where people often navigate complex social environments, understanding the adaptive roots of behavior can help clients make sense of their responses and develop healthier ways of coping. Studying Darwin's influence on psychology has given me deeper understanding into the biological underpinnings of human behavior. It has helped me recognize that many of these emotions and behaviors we encounter in counseling are not random or inexplicable. They are deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. The realization fosters a more holistic approach to therapy where both biological and environmental factors shaping a client's behavior are considered. In Singapore, where clients are often faced with high levels of stress due to societal expectations and urban living, evolutionary psychology offers a perspective that normalizes their struggle as part of the broader human experience. For instance, understanding that feelings of burnout or anxiety can be linked to evolutionary adaptation of coping with stress that allow clients to feel less isolated and more connected to their shared experiences of humanity. My final thoughts on this is that Charles Darwin's work has had a profound impact on the way we understand human behavior and mental health. His theory of natural selection not only revolutionized biology but also laid the foundation for evolutionary psychology, which continues to influence therapeutic practices today. In counseling, the application of Darwin's principles help normalize client behaviors by connecting them to adaptive strategies that humans have developed over millennia. In Singapore counseling contexts, where clients often navigate unique social and cultural pressures, evolutionary psychology provides a valuable framework for understanding the origins of their mental health challenges. By using Darwin's insight to explore how behaviors once useful for survival may now contribute to psychological stress, I can help clients reframe their experiences in a more compassionate and adaptive way. Darwin's work remains a cornerstone in mental health field, reminding us that understanding human behavior requires both a historical and biological lens. It encourages us to view mental health not just as an individual issue, but as a part of a broader tapestry of human evolution. We have now reached the end of my presentation. Thank you to my personal reflection and how Charles Darwin theory can be applied to the counseling practice in Singapore. Goodbye.